Hey, I'm the Barefoot Artist. You know, I teach a lot of art classes, and a lot of times I have highly professional artists, people that have been art teachers in schools and art professors for many, many years, even retired, and they come to me and they say, Casey, I'm taking your dynamic fluid art class because I am too tight with my art and I just need to loosen up. So I thought I'd make this video on loosening up as an artist. First of all, you need to take off your shoes, roll up your pants, walk around in a backyard that is pretty muddy, and a good supply of pets. Here we also have chickens that roam this way, so there's just no telling what's on the bottom of my feet right now. This really helps you loosen up, get into, like a loose stool kind of feeling when you get into your art. And so I'll be displaying to you exactly how to do some loose art next. Okay, well, I'm in a 30-day art challenge. Today's challenge is to use 3 colors that are next to each other on the color wheel, which I've interpreted to mean that I can do some shades in between colors. And so I've decided to go with a yellow and then a green that's actually between the green and the yellow, and a light version of the yellow, in which I added white to, and a light version of the green that I added white to, and the opposite tone, which came out looking almost identical to each other, is too much black, I think. Put some black in this yellow and some black in this green. And so I'm going to mix this together in what we in the fluid art community call a dirty pour. So I'm going to put some white down at the bottom, and I'm going to add my colors like this, and then my dark tones, like that. And one advantage of being a barefoot artist is you have no other use for socks than to use them to clean your hands, like that. And then the base color, which I've done something a little unusual with this. I have created, stir it in like that, this paint out of just something called Floetrol, and then about 10% of colorant. Colorant is what the paint store has, and we normally don't have access to, that turns your paint that you pick off the shelf into a color. Okay, well, this should be more than enough paint. This is a lot of paint right here, and so a flip cup is done like this. You turn the canvas upside down, and you get that kind of towards the middle, and then you flip it, and you give it a minute, and you can imagine on the inside of this cup it's kind of raining the color. And I purposely put my white on the bottom so it would end up on the top, and because it has a heavy your weight, if you'll check your every paint company will tell you it's gravity weight, and so the white is normally the heaviest. And you can do some other things, like my sister-in-law Autumn Orozco recently posted, where you do a flip and drag, and so this is where you surround it with some color like this. I'm not going to do a whole lot since I have so much in there, and then you can scoot it along, and it makes, some, especially if you lift up on it like that, makes some pretty good effects. So this is the big wow pizzazz part where I lift off of the cup and chapow, and we see how these all interact and move around together. And so I'll kind of gently scoot you up. So it makes some really cool things. Now you gently get it. If you want to do a white space, you can of course stop at some places and let it just go. I'm getting cells, but I have no additives in this particular pour. The Floetrol is doing all the work of the additives. So from here, I might break the surface tension and scoot it over and that'll allow it, like it's pouring off of that edge there, some of it to go in that direction. I'm going to move this so I can get it down to my next corner over here. Kind of see some really neat stuff developing in there. And that black is becoming quite dominant. Normally I have a table that I catch this on. I don't normally outside barefoot. That was just a joke. And now we're heading down towards this corner here. So we got some really cool swampy like colors going on. I am losing my motion. You can encourage the process by breaking the water tension. Oh, I'm sorry, no, the surface tension, although there is water in here. Getting some really cool effects. I thought I had a ton of paint in there, and it's looking like it's not going to want to get to where I want it to go. So I'm going to manipulate it a little bit to get to this corner. And I'm going to manipulate it to get to this corner. Getting some really cool scenes here. I might have to use another technique to get it to cover this final corner here. I am digging it though. Will it make it? And so you have to watch this, because while I'm intending, my focus is down here on this corner, neat stuff is happening up here. I'm glad that it's neat stuff, because sometimes it isn't neat stuff, it's actually bad stuff. I'm losing some really cool things. So again, I'm just going to manipulate this, because I should have had more paint in the cup. That's what I get for not checking my measurements. But to be honest with you, this is a newer approach for me, using not really paint, but something that I kind of made as a paint. So hopefully we'll stretch it out. Someday I'm going to learn my lesson. Alright, made it. So we got the top of the canvas covered, and it's the sides that we're just going to have to play with a little bit. Maybe we'll even ask that same paint that stretched over that direction to come back over here. Be able to get this corner a little bit better. Or you always have what's now left in your cup. And so you can use, just didn't pour out completely. Sometimes you can use that as a design element, or if you want some cool ribbons or flakes, streaks I meant to say, in there. And then you can just kind of play with it. I'll do some things to even that out, and maybe put some additional ribbons through here in some areas that are looking kind of boring. But as you can tell, I'm the Barefoot Artist, and I am teaching you how to loosen up with your art, because trust me, you have very little control over this particular art form. Okay, so, well, I think it's kind of boring, so I'm going to add a ribbon to this. I'm going to add a ribbon by pouring it off of this. In this cup I've got a dirty pour, and this is a piece of balsa wood to give me a flat edge to run it off of. So pour it off of here. Get some gather on the balsa. And then that kind of interesting. Another point of interest there. Do some tilting. Tilting creates these lines that we got here, get them moving and separate a little bit. Usual thing is to do it too much, and then I really wish that I had a back button, and so I am probably going to stop right here. I might do one more little line just to break up this yellow right here. Nice thing about the balsa wood is it'll bevel a little bit. I do like that better, but I do want to tip it some more though. All right. What I meant to say was I want to torch it some. Probably too old. Nope, something's switching. Let me light up some areas here, lighten it up. Don't like to twitch everything. Like to create interest. Maybe break up some patterns. And those little cells that are coming up will probably turn into bigger cells. Yeah, this is really opened up since I torched it. Actually, more from that ribbon. All right, that's it torched.